Yes, thank you. In the comment that Dr. Tudoro made was one regarding the vaccine and how we might be rushing into things. I just wanted to mention and have his comment on the fact that vaccination is an important process, and it is something useful. Yesterday, the polio was deemed eradicated from Africa, which is thanks to a policy that makes sense. Rushing into a vaccine that we don't know for sure went through all the steps is a very dangerous decision if in the end it creates more doubt in the vaccination process. So I believe that government officials should make measured decision. How do we make a measured decision? How can we ensure that the vaccine that will have been developed or the so-called vaccine that will have been developed in 9 to 10 months is something that will be harmless in the long term, because we don't want to have a step back in the vaccination process that altogether enabled our world to be a safer place. It is not new in Europe, as you mentioned. We have had a very rough summer, but the summer was following a long time increase in violence. But you know, once we have to be held accountable for not looking at history. If you know, a couple of days ago was the anniversary of the death of Trotsky. Trotsky, who was part of the communist revolution, and in 1920 he wrote a book, Terrorism and Communism, and he explains very clearly why violence should be used as a political tool. And now that for the first time in your history of the United States, you have extreme left activists, people that could be Trotskyists. They are implementing what was written 80 years ago. We have had them in France for many years, and we have witnessed violence many times, and nowadays the extreme left is linking with the Islamists in Europe, so it's a different thing. As a European citizen, when I come to the United States and see that in a polling station you can go and vote without any proof of identity, I'm baffled. In France, any citizen can vote. You even can vote by proxy, but you have to show who you are. Otherwise, it's very quickly anarchy. So now you're talking about having mail-in ballots, which means that it's going to be a ballot received by mail without checking who is voting. It's far from the ideal of democracy that we hold the United States. For many years, the United States were some kind of ideal democracy in the mind of Europeans. And when I see the process that you are going through right now, I think you really have to check the way things are being done, because you can have now like a former runner-up of the presidency saying that under no circumstances, which means that she refuses a democratic victory of President Trump. It doesn't make any sense. I think you're in deep trouble.
You think we're in deep trouble?
Oh yes, you definitely are in deep trouble. When you have the police that cannot do its job, when you have violences spreading, unable to stop the violences for more than 90 days, yes, it is deep trouble.
Tied back to you were talking about Trotsky in the previous segment. What about Trotsky?
It's because I think we in order to know the future, we should look at our past. If we don't know our past, we repeat mistakes. And in 1920, Trotsky, who was part of the communist revolution, and here what we're seeing is an attempt of extreme left communist, crypto-communist revolution. He explained in a book called Terrorism and Communism the reason why they should use terrorism, violence in politics. And this is what you're seeing. In order to try and influence the election, violence is being used. We undergo the same process in Europe. I'm not saying we're better. We are in deep trouble also, but we have to recognize the fact that it has been explained to us, and we need to react, and we need to enforce law and order.